Level 1. The trick. You learn it on a Tuesday in a market square in a town that isn't yours. You're 17, maybe 18, and you've been hungry for 3 days. A man 2 stalls down is selling relics. A splinter from the cross. A tooth from a saint you've never heard of. He's pulling coppers out of pilgrims faster than the baker pulls bread from the oven. You watch him for an hour. You see the mechanism. The pilgrim wants to believe. The man is not selling a splinter. He's selling permission to feel chosen. That night behind the tanner's yard, you whittle a splinter of your own from a broken cart axle. You walk 3 villages over and sell it for 4 pennies to a woman whose son is sick. 4 pennies, a day's wage for a labourer, and it took you 19 minutes. You think, why doesn't everyone do this? That question is going to cost you a lot before you understand the answer. Level 2. The apprentice. You've been doing this for about a year, and you've started to understand that the splinter isn't the craft. The delivery is the craft. You watch other men now, the way you once watched that first relic seller. A pardoner selling indulgences with a seal that looks real enough from 4 feet away. A beggar with a bandage wrapped around a leg that is perfectly fine underneath. You pick up the voice. The wavering tone that suggests holiness. The slight stoop that suggests suffering. You practice in empty barns, speaking to stacks of hay as if they were grieving widows. A vial of the Virgin's tears, which is well water with a little salt. A finger bone of a saint, which is a chicken bone boiled white. You start to notice something. The mark is not the enemy. The mark is the partner. They have come to the market with a wound, and you are selling bandages. The bandage does not have to work. It only has to feel like it might. Level 3. The travelling seller. You've joined up with 2 others. A man who calls himself Brother Anselm, though he has never seen the inside of a monastery, and a woman named Joan, who is not named Joan. You travel a circuit. 7 villages, each one visited no more than twice a year, because twice a year is how often you can return before someone remembers your face. Brother Anselm handles the blessings. Joan handles the potions. You handle the clothes. The moment when the mark has seen the relic, heard the story, and now has to reach into their purse. You have learned to make that reach feel like an honor. You have learned to look slightly reluctant, as though you were doing them a favor by accepting their coins. You are learning to read faces, the shape of a mouth that is ready to believe, the eyes of a man who will walk away no matter what you say, so you don't waste the pitch on him. This is the real craft. It took you 3 years to see it. Level 4. The forger. You've broken away from the travelling group because Brother Anselm got caught and Joan disappeared with most of the season's takings. You have savings, actual coins in a cloth bag, buried under a specific stone in a specific field. You find a scribe who drinks too much and pay him to teach you letters, not all of them. Enough to copy a seal. Enough to imitate the hand of a bishop's clerk on a letter of indulgence. You spend a winter in a rented room practicing. Your first forgery is ugly. Your 10th is passable. Your 40th would fool anyone who hadn't seen the real thing recently. The profit per piece is 8 times what a relic brings, and the weight in your pack is nothing. At this level, something shifts. The fear gets quieter. Not gone, quieter. You walk into a town now and you see the shape of it. The church here, the magistrate's house there, the road out of town if things go wrong. You plan, without noticing you're planning. Competence in this work is not the same as safety. Competence means you take bigger risks. Level 5. The long con. You stop selling splinters. At this level, the product is a story, and the story takes months to build. You arrive in a town of decent size, a town with a guild hall and a market that runs 3 days a week. You arrive with a trunk and clean clothes and a letter of introduction you wrote yourself on parchment aged over a candle. You introduce yourself, as a factor for a trading house in a city far enough away that no one will write to check. You're not selling anything yet. You are simply present. You attend Mass. You pay your bills. You speak carefully about a shipment of Flemish cloth arriving in 4 months. And you mention, almost reluctantly, that there is an opportunity for local partners to buy in early. You do not push. You let them come to you. You take small sums first. You return profits from your own savings, because this is the investment phase. Then, you take larger sums. And then, one morning in early spring, before the cloth is due to arrive, you are not there anymore. Your room is empty. Your trunk is gone. You are 100 miles away by nightfall. Level 6. The courtier. You have money now. The kind that has to be hidden in more than one place. You have changed your name twice. You have invented a history that includes a minor noble relative in a region that nobody in your new circle has visited. You arrive at the edge of a court. Not the royal court, a count's household. A regional power with a standing need for clever men who can produce what the count wants to hear. You offer yourself as an advisor on trade. You've watched real merchants for 15 years. You speak their language. You sell the count projections. Some of them are accurate. The ones that aren't, you shape in ways that benefit you. You take a small commission on transactions you help arrange. You take a larger commission on transactions you invent. You are now stealing from a man with the power to have you hanged. And this knowledge sits under everything you do like a cold stone in a warm pocket. Level 7. The relic merchant to princes. You've moved into a new line. You sell relics, but not to pilgrims anymore. You sell them to bishops, to abbots, to princes building new chapels and needing something holy to put in them. A thigh bone of a proper saint, with documentation, fetches more than a village earns in a decade. You have a network now. A man in a northern city who ages parchment with extraordinary skill. A woman in the south who knows which bones from which ossuaries can be moved for the right price. Real bones, old bones, which you then rename. You meet your buyers in private rooms. You speak in the voice of a man who has seen many holy things and is slightly weary of them. You allow the buyer to convince you to part with the relic. It is the same reluctance technique you first practiced as a teenager selling splinters. The scale is just different. Level 8. The banker's shadow. You have become useful to men who do not sell anything physical at all. You help structure loans that are slightly wrong in ways that benefit the lender. You help draft contracts with clauses that the borrower does not understand. You advise on marriages where dowries are exchanged under assumptions that will not survive the first harvest. You are paid well, and you are paid in ways that leave no record. You do not forge any more. You don't need to. You operate within the law by writing the documents that define what the law means in this particular case. You have a house now. A real house with a door that locks and a servant who does not know your real name. Men remove their hats when you pass. You feel, for the first time in 30 years, almost safe. Almost. Level 9. The patron. You have become a patron of a small church. You fund the repair of a roof. You endow a chantry to pray for your soul in perpetuity, which requires the church to accept that you have a soul worth praying for. And they do, because your coin is good. You have begun to believe the story you tell about yourself. Not all of it. The early parts you remember clearly. The splinter, the barn, the hungry years. But the middle has softened. The long con in the spring town is a thing you did, but not a thing you feel anymore. You have a family now? Or something shaped like one? A wife who knows some of the truth and has decided not to ask about the rest. Children who will inherit a name you invented, and a fortune whose origins they will never fully understand. Level 10. The old man. You are sitting by a window in a room that costs more than the village you were born in was worth. The light is thin, late winter. A boy brings you bread and soft cheese. You have a confessor who comes on Thursdays. You tell him some things. Not all things. He knows that, and he comes anyway because his church has benefited greatly from your unexplained generosity. Somewhere in a market square today, a boy of 17 is watching a relic seller, and something is clicking into place behind his eyes. You don't know him. You don't need to. You were him. You can remember the feeling of those first 4 pennies in your palm with more clarity than you remember yesterday. He'll sell his first splinter by the end of the week. He'll think it's simple. He's wrong. But he'll learn, and it will cost him exactly what it cost you.